everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe in Love. Here's your AEW Dynamite review for January 12th, 2022. Solid show as of last night. Wasn't one of the bigger episodes of Dynamite, but definitely jam-packed with a lot to go over. We saw the return of Lance Archer and his targeting over Hangman Page for presumably the AEW World Championship. And then Brody King, the former Ring of Honor and Tag Team Championship partner of Malachi Black, made his awaited debut in AEW alongside Black in the House of Black. Talk about that and more in a bit, but thank you for joining me. New podcast, and if you want to see more of these videos as well as sports OV topics or other videos on the channel, click those on the subscribe. Find those videos on the homepage. So thank you all. Also, I want to say I am a bit late with this, but nonetheless, I've seen over Twitter for the last number of days. Kenny Omega has gotten a lot of flack over the last couple of days. He had an exchange with Jim Cornette and just leave Kenny Omega alone. Leave Kenny Omega alone. That's all I'll say. Also, a good thing I saw in a recent photo on Twitter as well that Kenny Omega, according to Pro Wrestler Illustrated, was the number one male wrestler of the year. Good for him. Britt Baker won the Most Improved Wrestler of the Year and the Women's Wrestler of the Year award. Also, the Match of the Year, according to Pro Wrestler Illustrated. Her and Thunder Rosa in that lights out match over Beach Break last year. So good for AEW and good for Britt Baker. See how far she's come. But the show started off, speaking of Britt Baker, show started off with Adam Cole, baby, and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. They came out, addressed that it's a new era of AEW. Saying how he's never been pinned or submitted. And the Young Bucks came out nonchalantly. Matt Jackson said he kicked COVID's butt in 2 days. And he said, thanks for the invite. And he said, Kyle O'Reilly, in a sarcastic manner, said, hey, we didn't need your help being the super friends over in Daily's place, but they did anyway. So, Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler got in the ring. Good to see Cutler because he tested positive for COVID. So good to see him back. Even though he is an annoying runt with his character, but yeah, it works. So, anyways, to get back in the ring, and Young Bucks talked about their reign as the AEW Tag Team Champions, and they were the longest reigning Tag Team Champions in AEW, and they want their belts back for their New Year's resolutions. And Bobby Fish said, funny enough, that that's theirs as well, and Kyle O'Reilly, and that nobody will stand in their way to make that happen. And that includes you and you, pointing at both Matt and Nick. And Adam Cole said, yeah, this is what we need. A little friendly competition. That's why they're the best faction in AEW. And that a group like the Best Friends doesn't compare. So out came Orange Cassidy, Will Yuta, Best Friends, Chris Statlander. They all came out, and then they got in the ring. Adam Cole said to Orange Cassidy, what could you possibly have to say that as of any importance? So then he got took down by Orange Cassidy, and the brawl ensued between the two groups. So in the middle of the ring, Adam Cole hit a low blow on Orange Cassidy. Was looking to follow up, but Chris Statlander intercepted Adam Cole, and then out came Adam Cole's baby, Britt Baker, Dr. D&D. She came out to blindside Chris Statlander, and the beatdown continued, and Britt held up Orange Cassidy to be super kicked by Adam Cole, and then Adam Cole, O'Reilly, Fish, and the Young Bucks, and Britt Baker, also tall, in the middle of the ring. So then, well, good to see that it felt fresh, because you knew it was coming sooner or later that Adam Cole and Britt Baker on screen on AEW live together. So that was a good moment. Young Bucks versus O'Reilly and Fish. That's going to be a hell of a match. You kind of get the sense that the feud over 2022 is going to be between Adam Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish against Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Excuse me. That'll be a hell of a feud when Kenny Omega returns. So many matches to garner from that. Bucks versus O'Reilly and Fish, Cole versus Omega, Trios match. And we know Trios titles will be coming eventually to AEW, so that's going to be something to look out for. Next, a solid outing between Wardlow and CM Punk. Not a great match, but a good outing between the two. Considering this is all about two things: Edge furthering the feud of Punk and MJF, and furthering the eventual babyface split for Wardlow from MJF. And both efforts were good in my opinion. So we got Wardlow for CM Punk here. Wardlow, after He used power against CM Punk. Eventually, Punk mounted a comeback. Hit a roundhouse, springboard clothesline, up in the corner, but Wardlow caught Punk out of the corner with a powerbomb, and then started his powerbomb symphony, one after another, after another, after another. Then just when Wardlow was about to win, MJF got on the apron and barked orders at Wardlow to repeat the damage, and so on and so forth. So Wardlow hit a few more power bombs, and then MJF at ringside set up the timekeeper's table. Wardlow then hit a power bomb on CM Punk through the table. Already was counted, but CM Punk got back in at 9. So then Wardlow went for another powerbomb, but CM Punk got out of it, rolled up Wardlow for the win. MJF was very agitated after the roll of victory and pointed his finger at Wardlow, and Wardlow was not liking it, and you can see the crowd was like oozing about the possibility of this is when Wardlow snaps. But then out came Shawn Spears to get in between both of them and try to play peacemaker between the two. And Wardlow stormed off, and that was it. So Punk gets the victory, but Wardlow does a very good amount of damage to CM Punk. Then we got a nice matchup here between Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin. Good match between two, both again young pieces of AEW, both growing pieces, obviously with this Team Taz feud. Hobbs is growing better and better. Dante, has garnered a nice streak and is still shown of relevance very much in the absence of his brother Darius. This match didn't disappoint. The ending was a little perplexing, I would say. So, Hobbs had the advantage early, but his spine buster on the outside, and then back in the ring as Hobbs continued to beat down on Dante. I believe Hobbs was number 2 in the rankings for AEW, so very high when it comes to World Powerhouse Hobbs. So then Dante tried to get the momentum back, some shots coming off the ropes, but Big Lariat stifled the momentum of Dante. Dante then was sent to the outside by Hobbs, and then starts continuing with a beatdown on Dante when the referee was distracted. But a big tope by Dante to the outside kind of turned the tide. But back in the ring, a big body block by Hobbs leveled Dante, and the finish match came. So Starks looked to interfere again with Dante Martin, but out came Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal, who he attacked Starks, avoiding the interference. Dante hit the nosedive, moonsault on Hobbs, and then rolled up Hobbs for the win. Dante gets win courteous of some help, courtesy rather, of some help from Jay Lethal. Now, Jay Lethal, we know, was signed as part of those departing contracts from Ring of Honor. 3-time former Ring of Honor, or former two-time or 3-time, either way, multiple time Ring of Honor World Champion. Signed at Full Gear, made his debut. Face off against Sammy Guevara and open challenge for TNT Championship. And, you know, one of the best in the business. He's taking a build with him, taking it slow. And I get that because, yes, he's among the best wrestlers in the world, but he has to find his rhythm and earn his way up the ladder. Although, teaming with Sonny Kiss, that's not a good way to start. But here, helping Dante, mixing it up perhaps with Hobbs, with Starks, should be interesting. I would definitely go with that if that's where they head. So then we got the Inner Circle backstage. It was announced that the Inner Circle won Faction of the Year in 2021. No surprise. Eddie Kingston came in to confront the Inner Circle minus Sammy Guevara, telling Jericho to keep out of people's business. And he said to Santana Ortiz, the reason why you guys aren't tag team champions is because of Chris Jericho. So Jericho said they're family. Santana Ortiz, Hager wanted no business of it. So Jericho and Kingston had some words at the end. That was it. Next, a disgruntled MJF. He came out to the crowd again, egged on the crowd, saying they're finally going to get the match they want. Then next week, no more running, no more hiding. Next week, it'll be CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. Should be a good match. Good to see Shawn Spears back in the ring against CM Punk. Both should mesh well. This just continue growth until we get CM Punk versus MJF at Revolution. That wasn't the only high stakes match next week. We got Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and the Bucks backstage. They said the best friends getting in their business, and Chris Statlander, she isn't safe either because Britt Baker is in the fold. And Britt Baker challenged Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander to a mixed tag team match next week for her and her baby, Adam Cole. Should be fun. So then we got Hangman Page. He was in the ring talking about his 90 minutes with one of the best wrestlers in the world, Bryan Danielson. But the title is still his, damn it. The most important title in the business, that's for sure. Out came Dan Lambert to confront Hangman Page. He said, he went from Bill Watts, Terry Funk, to now you. So now we got that East Coast down part cowboy that these fans can relate to. So he praised his wrestling ability. He praised the way he got to the world title. But he did not like the way his gimmick. He criticized his character, saying that ain't cowboy shit. So then Hangman said, growing up on a farm with 100 cattle 90 miles away, that ain't cowboy shit. Turned down a 6-figure contract to come here, start a new company, and win the title. That ain't cowboy shit. So Lambert shook his head. Well, Hangman said he came here looking for a fight. So he said, why don't you come in the ring? I'll shove these boots up your ass and we'll see what the cowboy is. So Dan Lambert backed away, saying that ain't gonna happen. So he'll just make his exit. And then we heard the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2. Lance Archer is back. Lance Archer came out with a chair to get Dan Lambert looked appeared. Heyman was in the ring trying to sage off Lambert when he was trying to back away. But then out came Lance Archer. I had a feeling. Because Hangman looking for a new challenger. Archer backed away from Lambert. Dix, Hangman with a huge lariat, beat him down with a chair, hit a devastating blackout to Hangman on the chair. Lance Archer stands tall, and it seems his statement is clear. Perhaps Lance Archer is aiming for the AEW World title. Now, Lance Archer, we all love. Lance Archer, I have said, is the guy that's been booked sourly the guy that's been booked incorrectly, misutilized in AEW the most. Forget Brad Cage. Lance Archer's been the underutilized guy the most in AEW. Now, obviously, he stacks up wins. Obviously, he's a beast. But, and last time we saw him was that bad moonsault spot where he landed on his head versus Eddie Kingston. Now, it's been a while since they've built some momentum really with him with a feud, because it seems like whenever they've gone behind him, it's only for a bit and then they sweep the rug under him. So hopefully they can get some momentum behind them, get some story behind this feud, which should escalate a good match. But we'll see. I like this feud, but we'll see. More to come. And good seeing Lance Archer back. So, Arn Anderson was backstage with his son Brock and Lee Johnson. So, Tully Blanchard, FTR, they came in saying it's Four Horsemen country in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, FTR laid out the challenge. How about your boys against us? And should be a good match. I mean, Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson for FTR. FTR, we're waiting for the Briscoes to come in. We're waiting for the Briscoes. And the feud should be great. Should be great. But in building behind Brock and Lee Johnson, I would not be surprised to see how this escalates either next week or so on. So then we got Hikaru Shida for Serena Deeb. This did not last long. So Shida, she was ambushed in her entrance as Deeb again continued to work on the knee of Shida. She was using her kendo stick, using the steel steps, attacking it before the bell. Shida somehow got in the ring, told the referee to start the match, but again, Deeb or Shida was damaged goods. Deeb again targeting the knee, surrounding the lock on Shida. Shida tapped out. And she also, after the match, continued the attack with the crutch. Eventually, officials came out to save Shida, and Anna J. Ty Conti came out to support Shida, so that was it. This run with her might be some of her best work, I would say. Serena Deeb as a heel is best. Shida, we know she's great. Former AEW Women's Champion. But where this goes, I'm not sure. But great stuff from Serena Deeb. You look at Jade Cargill versus Ruby Soho. Yes, Ruby Soho show won. But you look at this match, you're like, Really? Jade Cargill over Serena Deeb? That's just perplexing to say, but hopefully they make it right. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see Serena Deeb with TBS Gold in the coming future. So we got John Silvers and Alex Reynolds. They issued a challenge to Dress Express backstage for Rampage Friday. That'll be Jurassic Express versus John Silvers, Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order for the tag team titles. Should be a good match. Should be a good match. So then we got Penta, Elzeo, Miel versus Matt Hardy. And Matt Hardy, home favorite in North Carolina. And Rebby was there, and some of the Hardy compound family was there. Good to see them. They all look great. Penta, I'm glad that they're still using him. I mean, unfortunately, due to the injury last week of his brother Phoenix, hopefully he comes back ASAP. I read the news, potentially dislocated shoulder, but nonetheless, hope he returns ASAP because the Lucha Brothers just are great. They are great. But again, good to see Penta still being used. Here first Matt Hardy. In a way, this was a nice nostalgia match. What I mean by that is, yes, North Carolina, yes, Matt Hardy, but you got two of the top tag team wrestlers in the world from two of the top tag teams of this generation, and Hardy Boys and Lucha Brothers. And you got Penta versus Matt Hardy. It was okay, but it could have been better. I would say that, but I was a little nervous for Matt Hardy because it seems like he gets hurt a lot more often these days when he wrestles, so it's a little scary, but was okay. You know, Sling Blade by Penta for a 2 count. Looked like Matt was going for Twist of Fate, but he had DT for near fall. Then Matt Hardy was in the Tree of Woe like position, and Penta hit the double stomp in the corner on Matt Hardy for a 2 count. Matt hit a side effect on the apron, good spot there for near fall. But after a missed moonsault, Penta hit the self pile driver or package pile driver for the win. Afterwards, Albert Hondas took the mic with Penta, and Penta challenged Malachi Black, saying, according to Alex, Penta says he'll show you some respect. So out came the lights, and Malachi Black decked Alex Abrahantes and brawled with Penta. Out came the Varsity Bonds to aid the attack on Black. Julie Hart still was with a eye patch. You know, I was a bit swerved. I thought perhaps maybe we get Hart signing with Black. That could still happen, but she was warning them off. She said no. She said no. That's enough. And then Malachi Black, he was laughing, and they said to all of them, 1, 2, 3. Out came the lights again. Brody King. Brody King in the middle of the ring. Attacks Penta, wipes out Pillman, hits the rolling cannonball in the corner. Malachi Black and King hit an assisted power slam on Griff Garrison, and both stood tall in the middle of the ring. So, great visual there of Black and King. Great stuff there as Black has his heavy for the House of Black in the ring. Good stuff. Good stuff. So we got the Acclaimed versus Bear Country. I was a little worried about this because of time left and with the main event, but this was flowed nicely. Morally pertained to what happened after. So the Acclaimed called out Darby and Singh in the rap before the match. And against Bear Country here, had their spots. Boulder, he had a double flatliner on both the Acclaimed. Then Bronson, I believe, was the legal man. Caster hit a roll up for a 2 count. Bowens hung up Bronson on top rope. And Caster hit the mic drop elbow on Bronson for the win. Afterwards, the snow flowed and the lights dimmed. Sting and Darby. Well, Sting came out with a baseball bat as they backed away towards the ring. Darby, like a missile, with his suicide dive, launched at Bowens and made their intentions clear. And apparently we got a match between these four next week on Dynamite, so it should be good. Darby and Sting versus the Acclaimed. I'm good for it. We got a message from Pac saying how Malachi Black has blinded him, but he's healing. And despite that, he can see everything. Just an eerie but good message from Pac. AEW is much better with Pac in it, so assuming restrictions can end and he can be back ASAP, that would be good. Because I would love to see a potential Malachi Black versus Pac feud. So we got the main event. Sammy Guevara vs Daniel Garcia, Interim TNT Championship. Fun match between two of the young guns of AEW. Well, Sammy's 28, but still 20's a pillar of AEW. Against Daniel Garcia, who's coming into his own, I think, and will be where Sammy is in a couple years. It's only 23, but this match was very good. Sammy hit a twisting tope on the outside, went for a springboard, but back in ring, but was caught by Garcia for a backbreaker. Then a springboard tope back in ring on the outside by Sammy. Then in the ring, a big lariat followed with a backdrop driver by Garcia for 2 count. Sammy went for GTH, but Garcia countered to a sharpshooter. But Sammy got to the ropes. Sammy has a message for Cody Rhodes. Hit the crossroads, although it looked kind of funky. The timing was a bit off, but crossroads by Sammy for 2. Garcia, first of all, Sammy went for a springboard cutter, but was caught by Garcia with a rear naked choke. And then instead, Garcia switched into a pile driver for a nice near fall. Then eventually Garcia got hit with the GTH by Sammy for the win. 2.0. Well, first, David Crockett was once again there, handed the title to Sammy. And then 2.0 interfered after Kingston and Jericho. They were at ringside supporting Sammy, but they were exchanging with 2.0. Afterwards, Kingston did not like Jericho take care of business. So afterwards, they got in a scuffle. War words again afterwards. Now it's how Dynamite went off the air. Good stuff. Again, not one of Dynamite's biggest episodes, but still good. Jam-packed with a bunch of stuff for next week. Some good matches to look forward to. But that's it. And the episode, likely gonna get an A Kingston. We may get a Kingston Chris Jericho at Revolution. If not at Detroit later this month. And maybe, we see the potential of potential return of Jon Moxley. Maybe. Because the rehab for Moxley thing, I believe it's 90 days, so it was October, now it's January, so should be ready to return this month. Plus, he's facing Homicide for the GCW title later this month, so you figure Jon Moxley's gonna return sooner for the time being. So, gonna be fun, looking forward to, but nonetheless, that's the episode for today, guys. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be back Saturday with my AEW Rampage review, and then, of course, be back next week with AEW Dynamite review. But thank you all. Be safe. See you Saturday. Peace.